Good morning, everyone. Hi, my name is Lorena Fikes, and I'm part of our marketing team here at Tatango. I'm excited to introduce Omer Gottlieb, our co-founder and SVP of Business Development, for today's webinar on customer success, building a business case for executives. Let me go over a few housekeeping items before we get started. The webinar will be recorded, and the link will be sent out in the next 24 hours via email. All attendees are in listen mode, and there is a Q&A icon at the bottom of your webinar window. Please feel free to use that, and we will do a Q&A at the end of this presentation. So now I'd like to hand it over. Welcome, Omer.
Thank you, Lorena, and thank you, everyone. We actually have almost 1,000 people attending today, so that's great, really exciting, and we really thank you for your time. Hopefully, you'll find this session valuable. Let's start. Well, actually, customer success is very complex. If you think about it, we're all practicing something that didn't really exist a few years ago. So obviously, people are still struggling with what are the right KPIs, what are the right processes, the right methodologies, and so forth. What I'd like to try and do today is actually help you connect some of the pieces, but do that with the help of your executive peers and executive colleagues. If this is done right, you'll actually be able to get their help to get you to your KPIs, and they will get to their KPIs, and the company will actually be successful. So what are we going to cover today? I'm going to speak about why is it very important to demonstrate the customer success impact to your leadership team. I actually believe that one of the main goals of every chief customer officer, every VP of customer success, is make sure that the entire company is aligned with what the team is doing and the success or the struggles and challenges of the teams. So I'm going to speak about why is that important. But the reality is that not every company is the same. Every company behave different, operate differently, different people think about different things. So there's not going to be a recipe here on how to exactly present the CS impact to your team. I will speak about different ways to help you think about how you organize the information, what are the important topics that you actually need to cover and when, and then drill down into best practices and specific KPIs that we found to be very interesting for the executive team. So again, it's not going to be an exact recipe, an exact cookbook, but a set of ideas that it will help you create your message and your way to actually demonstrate the impact to the leadership team. So why this is so important? First of all, it's about winning. If your CEO didn't ask you, she should be asking you, are you the best customer success organization out there? If you are, this is actually becoming more and more a competitive advantage. When you're competing with the other vendors in your domain, if you're able to prove that you actually have the best customer success organization out there, it will help you win new deals. It will help you beat the financial goal. It used to be, by the way, a secret sauce. But right now, if you are actually funding a company, one of the first questions the VC is going to ask is how your customer success team is doing. And I think by practicing what we're going to do today, you'll actually be able to achieve customer centricity and really help you win more. So first of all, again, it's about winning. There's also a lot of benefits that can really help you, whether you're the customer success executive, the CSM, you're another executive in the team and the company. But before I drill down into that, I actually wanted to start with a question. So I'm going to actually share a poll right now. And if we can spend like really 1 minute on that, hopefully you have this on the screen. What I'd like you to be able is describe the state of your customer success team. This will help me better fine tune my content. So I already see quite a few people answering. Let's wait 30 more seconds and we'll take it from there. Okay, I'm going to end the poll in a few seconds, but just the results, I think there's a tie between everybody having a team and using a third-party solution or homegrown solution, but about 15% of the people are still building the case for customer success. So thank you again for answering this. We'll have another question soon in a few minutes. But let's speak about the benefits. Why is it so important for you if you're the customer success executive? So if you agree with me that customer success is complex, if you are able to demonstrate the impact, you're actually helping simplifying this complexity and helping explain your program and process to your colleagues. I've heard a lot from other people, you know, I'm working with hundreds of companies. They all see customer success teams are busy. They all see they're doing a lot of activities, but there's really not a connection. They don't understand exactly what's going on. They don't understand exactly how this affects the results in the company. So if you do this today, you'll actually be able to explain those things. You'll be able to recognize yourself as a CS leader, and also very important, align the other executive to really help the customer success team. And that's one of the points I'd like to focus today. You know, you're not alone. And if your company has a retention issue, a churn issue, that's not your problem alone. You're in charge of solving it, but you won't be able to win if you don't get the help of other executives and other departments of the team. So one of the most important things that you can achieve by demonstrating the impact, demonstrating what you're doing, is really getting help from other executives. If you're the CSM, that's also helpful for you, because one of the feelings I'm hearing from CSMs in the market is, you know, are we alone? We're doing everything, but it's everything on us. Again, if your company is going to practice that and everybody's going to be aligned, the CSM will not feel that they're alone. They will feel that they can actually make an impact. And that's also a great place for them to invest in their personal growth and understand how other executives are expecting to see results, are expecting to see reports, and so forth. If you're, you know, the other executive team member is not the VP of customer success, first of all, this eliminates surprises. What we really hate are surprises. You know, it's the end of the quarter, everything looks good, and then in January 1st, everything turns differently. So if hopefully you're not in that situation, and the way to mitigate that is really make sure everybody is aligned and understand what are you doing and what are the results. The other thing which I think is very important is that going to connect them to customers. As I said, one of the first thing or most important things head of customer success team needs to be able to be in charge is make sure everybody understands what the team is doing, but also you need to build the customer-centric company and a customer-centric culture. And by aligning the other executives, you'll help them connect with the customers and really make a lot of progress in making sure your company is customer-centric. They will also understand how their actions lead to customer results. You know, if the VP of product releases a new feature, they need to understand how does this affect churn. If the CFO changing prices, that needs to affect that. Engineering are able to deliver a feature sooner than later. Everything actually has effects on that. So definitely it will help influence the company performance. And obviously if everything here is aligned for the company, you will see increase in customer centricity, in team collaboration, and really improve the product and the financial performance. So hopefully you get a glimpse of why we think it's really, really critical for any customer success executive to demonstrate what the team is doing, and more important, the impact that to your other leadership team. Now, once we understand how important it is, let's speak about different ways to demonstrate impact. And as I said before, that's not going to be a cookbook because every executive thinks differently, operates differently, and the way that you manage your time and meetings and reporting your company is probably different than other companies. So what I want to do today is really give you some best practices on how to organize your presentation and then what to present and when to present and how. So when we come to think about what is the right point of view to present the impact, the methods that I'd like you to think about. One is by category and the other one is by role. By category means that usually you are in charge or should be in charge of three main categories. The first one, and that's the obvious one, is increasing organic growth. How am I in charge and making sure that I'm increasing the organic growth? And this is where you actually need to speak about financial metrics like retention rate, expansion rate, but also leading indicators like customer health and so forth. The second category, which I'm a great advocate of, a CS leader to be in charge of, is about increasing customer centricity. It's never can be only about the financial result. You should also demonstrate that you're able to increase customer centricity. And then some KPIs, some parameters here are about, NPS, satisfaction, CSAT, community participation, and so forth. These are, of course, all examples, but I want you to understand the category. And the third one, if you're really a more mature and advanced customer success organization and company, it's all about being more efficient. So I'm hitting my financial goals and customers are happy, but I want to make sure I'm doing it in a better way, in a more efficient way. And this is where we speak about improving the margin, efficiency and productivity of the team. Some of the parameters we like to present there are, ARR to CSM ratio, account coverage, how much time I'm spending on onboarding, and things like that. So when you come to build your presentation, think about those main categories. You may have other ones as well. The other thing to think about is who are you presenting to? And different people in the company obviously need to hear different things. If you're presenting to your CEO, she wants to know, obviously, what your financial results are, but more important, what are the main programs that you're running? What are the main things that you're doing? And are they working or not? If you're presenting to the CFO, it's all about financial KPIs, right? Like the retention rate, but also the ARR to CSM ratio, so focus on that. If you're presenting, for example, for the VP of sales and speaking with them, how can we actually work together well? So if you're able to generate more case studies, more reference, you're able to actually influence expansion revenue, these are the things that are really interesting for them. So again, when you come to build your point of view, think about the category and also think about the role. Who are you presenting to and what are the most important things for them to hear? Because we know there's a lot of things that we can actually present. You need to be very focused on that. With that, I actually want to come up with the second question that we have. And let me just share that. And what I'm interested to hear about is right now, are you guys sharing information regularly? Are you meeting with other executives in the company to discuss customer success and customers as well? So let's spend, again, 30 seconds here to see who are the other executives that you guys are actually regularly speaking with them. That's great, and thank you for that. I'll keep it open for the next few seconds, but we do have a clear winner, which is the head of sales, and which is obviously a natural discussion and connection. I do see only, I would say, a smaller portion, about 27–30% that regularly meet with the head of marketing. I strongly recommend to add this into your cadence. I think there's a lot of good things that can happen if you collaborate with the head of marketing, speak about customer marketing, about branding. Everything that marketing is doing for sales is also relevant for customer success. And your CMO can really help you get to your goals. So I do recommend that you spend time with her as well. So thank you for your answers. I'm going to end the poll right now. So again, we spoke about category, we spoke about roles. The next thing about is how to present, what will be interesting to them. So once you have your point of view, these are some examples, but usually when you actually present to executives, and if you guys are executives, you know that better than me, but you start with the status. What are the main KPIs and how are we doing there? Most important, are we going to achieve your goals? Everybody, or if that's the end of your fiscal year, we're about to end Q4 right now, everybody should be oriented around goals. And if you're a customer success executive, you're hired for mainly making sure you achieve your goals. So let's understand what they are. Also very important are trends. So whether I'm achieving my goals or not, that's one thing, but are we actually improving? Do we see that the things we're doing are creating a positive impact? So show about those things. The next thing about are the main activities that we're executing. Remember that most of the people around the management table are not going to be very familiar with what a real customer success organization is doing. And your job is to make sure to speak not just about the results, but also what are the things that we're trying, what are the main activities. I'd like to think about programs, what are the different programs that you're running, and what is working and what's not. Some of them are going to work, some of them are not. You need to be very transparent with that. And the last thing is, what do I need from you? How can you help? You should regularly think about what is your ask from any executive in your company. What is your ask from the VP of marketing? What is your ask from the VP of product? What is your ask from the CFO? Everybody can actually help you in that and should help you with that. So think about those things when you present. The last thing about this is we have to use data. If you ever heard, an experienced VP of sales present their data, present their pitch, it's always about data, right? They know exactly what's the pipeline, they know the probability to close, they know the stages, they know the activities, and it's all based on data. They know the win rate, they know everything. And in customer success, usually people are, speaking about other things that are softer. And I would encourage you to really include data in your presentation. I've run a program and it's working, and the reason that it's working is that 95% of the people, the customers that were active in this program, improved their adoption in 35%. That's an example of a data piece that you can add. So think about how to use data and not just anecdote, and really raise the bar, because we need to be at least the same level as the head of sales as well. So this is about, again, what should actually be interesting for the executive team. And then some other additional best practices on how to present is, and again, really depends on when and where and who you present it, but definitely specific accounts. If you have specific accounts, strategic accounts that are very important to your company, the executive team needs to know what's happening with them. Remember, eliminate surprises. So name your top 5 strategic accounts and make sure everybody on the around the table really understand what's going on and whether they can help or not. If you have major escalations, to speak about them as well. Feedback from customers, really important. Remember, connecting the customers to your company. So you're in charge of making sure that the feedback from the customers, the inside, the NPS, is getting back to the company. And I want you to actually be able to share that with the other executive team. And obviously speak about areas for improvement, any learnings, anything that you can do. The second thing here is about who's presenting. And again, you can present most of the things, but think about maybe it's best in some places to actually include the CSM. And I don't know, if you speak about a strategic account, have the CSM join you and speak about it. If you speak about a specific program that you're running and a CSM is leading that, add her as well. So think about how you can actually include your team in those presentations and not just yourself. And this is about actually how to, what are the different ways to present this information. And I really think that the head of CS should be the quarterback of the customer-centric culture. So here are some methods that found to be very successful to make sure you change the mindset of the company and you share this information from everybody. So the first thing is about a live dashboard. Think if you can actually create a live dashboard with your main KPIs that everybody in the company can get access. I'm a real believer in transparency, and I think that everybody in the company needs to be able to understand most of those things. So your responsibility is to come up with the right level of dashboard that everybody can see your KPIs. And again, it should be about the main KPIs that we spoke about, like retention rate and expansion rate. It should be about the health of the customer. It should be about adoption. We'll cover metrics in a few minutes, but you need to build your own dashboard. Obviously, team meetings, if you have executive team meetings on a weekly or a monthly cadence, focus on the results, focus on the forecast and challenges. You don't need to cover everything, but these are the things that needs to be there in the team meetings. I do recommend to start a cadence of either a weekly or monthly report by the head of customer success. Think of it as the state of the union of customer success report. And this is where you can expand more. If you create a report that covers your main insights about the main KPIs, are we doing good? Do we need to improve in something? Any important accounts, any programs that you're running, and some customer feedback, the company would really appreciate it. Companies that started that tell me later on that people are actually addicted to those reports. They're really looking forward to get those reports. And not everything in those reports is positive, because you do need to also mention the challenges that you're working with and get other people to help. But that's one of the methods you can actually get people aligned to that. One-on-one meetings, right? I do recommend that you schedule a one-on-one with the other VPs in the company. You don't have to be weekly, but do that and really drill down into the specific relevant metrics for them, and remember to tell them how they can help you, okay? They can help and they should help, just ask them. One of the things I recommend is having monthly learning meetings, and usually this is where people want to drill down more into specific details. Usually it's about churn analysis, escalations, and wins. And this is a place for you to actually collaborate with other teams. If you're doing a churn analysis meeting, probably the sales team or maybe the product team needs to be involved. So think about how you create those meetings and have like a cross-team functional presentation to do those meetings. And the last thing that is really creating a lot of impact in the company is have a customer show and tell. Have a customer join your E-team meeting once a month, once every 2 months. Doesn't have to be on-site, could be remote, but have a customer give you their own point of view about your company, what they like, what they don't like. Usually it doesn't need to take more than 5 or 10 minutes. You'll be very surprised how the E-team can actually get a lot of insights from there. So that's something, that's a practice we're doing in Tango. We're doing it with other companies as well. Figure out a way to make sure your customers also are representable in the management team as well. Okay, so now that we covered some ways to present the data, what data should be there, and how to actually make sure everybody's aligned with that, let's drill down on specific metrics. What are some KPIs? What are some questions that you should be answering? And I really like to actually look at it as telling a story. So I'm going to just share with you some example on how I recommend to tell a story. There are 5 main categories here. If you're doing, speaking about the financial aspects, it should be, are we hitting our financial goals? What is the focus for our financial goals? Are we actually being efficient? And some of the ways are like this. For example, you can say, and these are all examples, a churn goal was losing 500K in Q3. We already lost $1 million, but and we focused actually even a bigger loss, but we're really going to beat our expectation in expansion. And instead of 200K, it's going to be almost $3 million. So now I understand the financial status of your organization. Another way to do that is actually be more specific and say, for this quarter, we have 27 accounts to renew. This is 5.2 almost $1 million in revenue in ARR. We forecast 100.2% net retention rate. And during the last 4 months, we were able to improve the CSM to ARR ratio in almost 30%. Again, these are all just examples, but think of how you tell a story using the data that you have. Second category is about onboarding. And the main thing that you need to tell about onboarding is, are we meeting the implementation timeline? Obviously, you've promised something to the customers in terms of timeline, in terms of experience, in terms of quality. So are we meeting the timeline? Are we providing excellent onboarding experience? And what is the quality of our onboarding? And there are different ways to measure that and present that. But usually, you should be able to answer those kinds of questions. Escalations, not fun, but everybody has them. So think about how you present, how many escalations you have, how much money is at risk. What are the main reasons for escalations? It's not just about, I have a set of escalation, I'm dealing with them, but also what is the root cause? For example, you can see here that for this kind of organization, value perception was the main reason. So maybe I need to speak with my CMO and my VP of product and understand how do we increase the value perception with our customers as well. Adoption, which is really key if you're running a SaaS business and you have a product, mainly our customers are adopting our product and are using the important functionality. And here you need to actually invest more time and really figure out the right metrics. It's not just about are they logging in, it's really about are they using the functionality in the right way that will provide them value. And I think we have quite a few articles and webinars on this specific issue as well. but do invest time in thinking what the right adoption metrics that you need to present. And of course, voice of the customer. Our customers are happy with our products, or they're happy with our services, and what are the main reasons for satisfaction. This satisfaction, again, I would encourage you to use data, but also analyze the response and come up with a recommendation. For example, if I would be, in that company, I know I have an issue with pricing, but I also need to speak with my head of engineering and say there's a major issue with product performance, and I need you to help me with that and figure out how we improve on that. So if I want to summarize the metrics, 5 different categories that I think should lead your dashboard or presentation. Financial metrics about churn and expansion. Onboarding, it's about time, experience, and quality. Adoption, your product, about utilization, about frequency, sticky features. Escalation, it's about account and reasons, and voice of the customers, our satisfaction, reason, reference. And you see some of the things here are actual results, while most of the others are about leading indicators that will show whether you're actually improving or not. So to summarize the presentation today, the key takeaways is I would expect you to be proactive and change the mindset. You need to carry the flag of enabling a customer-centric culture, and by really demonstrating that, the customer success impact, that's a major path forward to do that. So think about how can I be proactive, and do that sharing the data by weekly report, dashboard, one-on-one, and other things. Please ask the leadership team to participate and help. You're not alone, and you need to get them to help you. If you can bring customers to actually tell about their experience, you'll be very, very surprised if you haven't done so. Once you do that, the major impact that it actually has an effect on your company. And definitely use the right metrics for the right audience. And that's something that you need to spend time on thinking. Don't drown them with too many. Put the right things, the right person for the right time. So thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much, Omer. I hope this webinar has been informative for you as you think of important metrics and results to share with your executive team. As we move to the Q&A portion, please submit any questions you have into the Q&A icon at the bottom of your webinar now. We'll give you a minute or so just so that we can start gathering them. We also wanted to let you know that we have another webinar coming up, Building a High-Performing Customer Success Team. And we'll touch on how to structure and empower a team to ensure effectiveness. Be on the lookout. It's scheduled for Thursday, January 9th at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So go ahead and save the date. We'd love to have you join us for that webinar.
Okay, we don't have a lot of time, but I'm going to try and answer some of the questions. By the way, I'm passionate about customer success. If we're not connecting on LinkedIn, feel free to connect to me or even send me an email, just simple omer@tutango.com, and I promise to answer any question you have about customer success. A couple of questions that we see here is actually about a customer success platform, mainly how do you justify the value prop ROI for a customer success platform, and what are the best practices in getting the other people aligned with that. So I really think that it shouldn't be your first step. Your goal as the head of customer success isn't to buy a customer success platform, right? Your goal is to make sure that you're getting to your KPIs, achieving your goals, and building a customer-centric company. But the only way to do that is actually really based on data. So find a way to actually educate your executive team about, if these are my goals, customer success is very complex, these are the KPIs, I need to have data, I need to have visibility to my team, I need to be able to actually run multiple programs, see what's working and what's not. And you have to have technology for that. And again, whether that's a solution like Tutango, or whether that's a proprietary system, or otherwise, you have to have technology in order to be able to really be successful as a customer success team and as a customer-centric company. So definitely use that as well. Another question here was about how do you see client services team structured? And that's actually a common question that we're getting all the time. And the real answer is that there's no one truth. A customer success services team structured can be in different ways. By the way, I think Lorena mentioned that in January, we're going to have a specific webinar just based on that. But usually what we see is starting a client services team, what I call a young team that actually owns everything. From onboarding to adoption to escalation, renewal, and expansion. And as the company matures more and more, you see specialization there. You see a different team for onboarding, a different team for expansion, a different team that are actually in charge of maybe relationship, how you work together with the AE. So I don't really have like, this is the answer and that's it. It really depends on the stage of your company, the complexity or simplicity of your product, and how you work together with the sales team as well. Question that I like, if we're carrying the flag for a customer-centric culture, what do you think is the single most important factor in driving that from a CS perspective? And I think for me is really putting the customer in the middle. And I know that might be a vague statement, but you need to understand how you put your customer in the middle. If you want to be a customer-centric company, everybody that makes decision about customers or working with customers needs to make them based on data. So the first thing you need to do is make sure everybody understands this. If I'm a support person, if I'm in the product team, if I'm in engineering, if I'm in marketing, the most important thing you need to do is explain to them how their action affect the customers, and then use data to actually show them what are the results of that. It's not an easy task. I think it's a very exciting task, by the way. The organization really learns a lot from it. And it is your goal to actually make sure everybody is aligned to that. Question regarding to this about customer feedback. Are there other preferred methods to collect feedback other than NPS? Yes, it's about questioning. It's about, whenever you meet them in events, ask them what's going on. It's about asking the team that is working with them, what do they think is happening? It's about, looking at how they're using your product and understanding whether there's a correlation or not. There are a lot of, I would say, signals. Some of them are direct. You ask the customer. Some of them are, by looking at what they're doing and how they're behaving. Are they engaging with me? Are they speaking with us? Are they attending our event? Are they using our product? Are they successful? Are they getting to the results? So collect all those things and come up with your, I would say, status of the customer. It's never just one thing. It's never just the customer told me, that's it. You need to collect other signals as well. I think we're running out of time. A lot of questions here were about, will the slides be shared? And we'll actually send the webinar later on to everybody that registered. And with that, I really want to thank you again for your time today. Hopefully this was valuable, and looking to see you again in one of our next webinars.